Hello viewers, welcome to the lecture. Today we are going to see about the introduction to finite element methods. So introduction. What do you mean by finite number and finite accuracy? A finite number is only finite number of elements, right? Which means you can count the number of elements. That is called finite number, which can be a countable thing. The next one is about finite accuracy, which means how accurate your analysis. That is what the meaning of finite accuracy. Even for finite model, it is not a accurate solution, which means it is a approximate solution. So this speaks about the history and the mind map of the various technologies that evolved in the early period of finite element method. So if you see, it is the gap between the engineering and the mathematics. This finite element is the bridging gap between the engineering and the mathematics. So most probably the finite element analysis, if you see here, the first thing is the trial function. So under trial function you can see variational approach, weighted residual approach, similar structure replacement, continuous trial function, direct continuum elements, right? And if you see in the mathematics side, it is finite difference method, variable finite difference method, and finally in the year 1960 through Clough, it is formed as a finite element method. So this history already we have discussed in the previous lecture. So let us move further about the introductory part of the finite element, and we will see about the applications of the finite element. So how an organization is benefited by using this finite element method? Here if you see this finite element method, as already we discussed, right? So I'll tell you an example, right? So if you see this mobile phone, if you see this mobile phone, so this mobile phone is manufactured, right? So there are different versions of the mobile phones are manufactured nowadays, am I right? So once in a year they will release different versions, right? So for example, Apple, they have released Apple 17 iOS, and that is 17 model is released, am I right? 17, 17 plus or 17 Pro, whatever it is, right? Last year it is 16, right? So this is the product is launched every year. So once if you want to launch a product successfully, what you have to do is you have to eliminate the mistakes or the errors or the things that are in the previous versions, right? So this is what the area where finite element is evolved, because if you see here, the development time and the tooling time and the manufacturing time, everything matters a lot, right? If you manufacture a product, if a faulty product or a defective product, will customers will accept? Definitely no. So that is why there are some challenges in manufacturing the product. So this finite element is one of the tool which is used in the initial stage. That is, after designing, the design is analyzed through this software, right? There are a few softwares, right? ANSYS, COMSOL, right? There are many softwares nowadays commercially available for doing this finite element analysis, right? So they use the analysis, and through these analysis the designs can be modified and the applications can be identified according to the requirement, right? So this is how the finite element helps an organization in the early stage, that is before prototyping. And if you see the applications of the finite element, you can see here there are many applications, right? The first application is about the aircraft structures in aerospace. So in aerospace, it's not only designing about the aircrafts, it is also about designing the missiles, right? Rockets, etc. So these things are used, this approach is used to analyze the aircraft wings, fins, rockets, spacecrafts and missile structures, etc. Then if you see here in the mechanical design, so there are many things. For example, in a railway track, if you see, there are many tracks, right? The rails are just like that, through a lever it is transferred, right? So that is through linkages, right? So that linkages, the composites, And if you see in automobile, the piston is a reciprocating body which moves from top dead center to bottom dead center. So it can be analyzed how the heat is transferred, right? So in a pressure vessels, how the pressure is acting. Likewise, we can analyze the structures. So that is what the scope of FEM in mechanical design. And there are many applications we will see in the next lecture series, next lecture video. Thank you.